So today, I'm moving past Republican obstruction and using the executive authorities available to me as president to do what I can on my own to address the border.
We're learning the president's executive action would temporarily close the U.S.-Mexico border.
Breaking news coming out today that in a major shift, President Joe Biden has issued executive orders allowing temporary border closure to migrants. And let me know your thoughts. Are we finally seeing President Joe Biden come around to the warnings we've been hearing for months from FBI Director Wray that dangerous individuals are coming across our southern border, posing major threats to the people of the United States while we have global conflict taking place? Or is Biden ordering the block of most illegal immigrants entering the U.S. in this current surge as a result of the fact that it is an election year? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Is he finally heeding the warnings of the FBI, or is this a move to appeal to voters in an election year? Now, if you want to get the opinions of both the left and the right, I've got a video sponsor today that's going to be making sure that you get every angle of the story, but more on that later on in the video. But you guys, I'm going to be sharing with you the latest video footage so that way you can see it for yourself, as today, President Joe Biden, he's issuing executive orders, and they're saying this is going to be a temporary blockage of the U.S. border of migrants crossing in. I'm going to get you all the details so you know exactly what's going on. As we've heard, if this goes unanswered, this is a potential security threat to those living in the United States. We've heard warnings of major attacks, coordinated efforts, cyber attacks, physical attacks. So this is something that does need to be addressed. Now, let's go ahead and dive right in. But before we do me a quick favor. If you appreciate the updates, don't forget, take a quick second, hit that like button for me, subscribe to stay up to date. It's totally free. Why not? But with that being said, let's go ahead and get you caught up on the latest and the breaking news coming out of new executive orders by the president securing the southern border. Keeping up with the world we live in can be overwhelming, and in a world with media bias and mistrust, it can be difficult to discern what the truth is with zero spin. Straight Arrow News keeps me informed with the facts and not the fluff. What this group of journalists is doing is remarkably different from any other by not only highlighting left and right-leaning opinions, but also giving an unbiased view of stories and events across all sides of the aisle. For this reason, I stay locked into Straight Arrow News. Straight Arrow News is a free app and website that is constantly on a mission to raise the bar on journalism in a time where many people don't know who to trust with their news. Go to san.com/Steve to check it out for yourself. You can visit by clicking on the link in my description or download the app by searching Straight Arrow News. When you download it, you're not only supporting me, but you're also supporting a free platform created by journalists that stay diligent and vigilant on fact-based news and focusing on serving you the truth.
We're learning the president's executive action would temporarily close the U.S.-Mexico border when daily encounters reach 2,500, reopening only when they fall below 1,500. But will this move be enough to appease either side of the aisle as immigration becomes a top election year issue? Will it make a difference?
Biden now scrambling to address the migrant crisis long after saying he's done all he can do in the issue. The president granting permits to several border towns today to, quote, expand and continue to maintain crossings, whatever that means. While the administration is set to announce executive action for the border by tomorrow, limiting asylum claims. An estimated 5 million illegal immigrants have now crossed the southwest border during Biden's presidency, as former President Trump declares the border a day one priority.
Now I'm going to do the big deportation, the biggest ever. Eisenhower did the biggest. This will be bigger. But it's a very tough thing. What they've done to our country is unthinkable, that they could do this. And so many other things. I mean, like you go into New York, the kids can't have Little League games anymore. It sounds so trivial, right?
Why?
Because the migrants are living in the fields. They're all tense.
National Border Patrol Council Vice President Art Del Cueto joins us now. Art, would you please untangle for me what Biden is talking about? Is anything he's proposing, these maintaining crossings or these new executive orders, will it do anything to stem the flow of illegal migrants?
Look, it's quite a mess, and people need to understand that that mess was created by this administration. And if they were going to allow so many individuals to come into the country and ask for asylum, they surely had to have come up with a plan for those individuals that would not have an actual asylum claim. And once again, they didn't even plan for that. So when you start talking about mass deportations, that's obviously something that this administration should have thought of in the first place. Not everyone that's asking for asylum has a real asylum claim. In fact, the majority of them don't. So somebody's got a plan for them to go to the actual court case and show what their claim is. And unfortunately, you're just getting more smoke and mirrors by this current administration right now. I mean, you remember they had that FAST app at the border. That didn't work out. Again, I think it's just them reaching out, continuing to baffle the American public because they realize that, they created the mess and elections are coming up.
And the smoke and mirrors is what I want to parse through with you specifically right now. I saw a Wall Street Journal alert that indicated this executive action that Biden might be announcing later this week would potentially say, no more, I'm closing the border down. It's not going to have necessarily a threshold where a certain amount of, illegal migrants can cross per day. That seemed to be the discussion before. So what I'm hearing is there will be a lot of pushback to that. It's got to go through Congress. He needs money to be able to do it, and that it won't actually happen. So I see an election coming, a desperate president who's going to now flip-flop on his position, knowing that it can't actually be seen through. And this new policy that's coming out today is like he's drawing little drawbridges in places where the migrants will still know if they go to that spot, they can get over, Art.
Right. And again, that's what it comes down to. It's just, hey, he's trying to show that he's doing something about it without actually doing something about it. And you're exactly right. Look, it's a bunch of backstepping now. He has to admit that the last administration actually had a lot more things under control. And he's going to have to go back to some of those policies in order to try to at least stop the flow. But the floodgates were opened by this administration, and stopping the flow isn't just what they need to concentrate on. They need to figure out how do you get the individuals that are already here that you allowed to come in here back to their countries, or at least listen to their actual claims to see what claim they have. And they have no plan for that at all.
Negotiation between my staff and Democrats and Republicans, we came to a clear bipartisan deal. It was the strongest border security agreement in decades. But then Republicans in Congress, not all, but walked away from it. Why? Because Donald Trump told them to. He told the Republicans, it has been published widely by many of you, that he didn't want to fix the issue. He wanted to use it to attack me. That's what he wanted to do. It was a cynical and an extremely cynical political move, and a complete disservice to the American people who are looking for us to not to weaponize the border, but to fix it. Today, I'm joined by a bipartisan group of governors, members of Congress, mayors, law enforcement officials, most of whom live and work along the southern border. They know the border is not a political issue to be weaponized. The responsibility we have to share to do something about it. They don't have time for the games played in Washington, and neither do the American people. So today, I'm moving past Republican obstruction and using the executive authorities available to me as president to do what I can on my own to address the border. Frankly, I would have preferred to address this issue through bipartisan legislation, because that's the only way to actually get the kind of system we have now that's broken, fixed, to hire more Border Patrol agents, more asylum officers, more judges. But Republicans have left me no choice. Today, I'm announcing actions to bar migrants who cross our southern border unlawfully from receiving asylum. Migrants will be restricted from receiving asylum at our southern border unless they seek it after entering through an established lawful process. And those who seek to come to the United States legally, for example, by making an appointment and coming to a port of entry, asylum will still be available to them, still available. But if an individual chooses not to use our legal pathways, if they choose to come without permission and against the law, they'll be restricted from receiving asylum and staying in the United States. This action will help us to gain control of our border, restore order into the process. This ban will remain in place until the number of people trying to enter illegally is reduced to a level that our system can effectively manage. We'll carry out this order consistent with all our responsibilities under international law, every one of them. In addition to this action, we recently made important reforms in our asylum system, more efficient and more secure reforms. The goal is to deliver decisions on asylum as quickly as possible. The quicker decision means that a migrant is less likely to pay a criminal smuggler thousands of dollars to take him on a dangerous journey, knowing that if in fact they move in the wrong direction, they're returned around quickly. And 2 weeks ago, the Department of Justice stated started a new docket in the immigration courts to address cases where people who've recently crossed the border they make a decision within 6 months rather than 6 years, because that's what happens now. Additionally, the Department of Homeland Security has proposed new rules to allow federal law enforcement to more quickly remove asylum seekers that have criminal convictions and remove them from the United States. My administration has also recently launched new efforts to go after criminal networks that profit from smuggling migrants to our border and incentivize people to give tips to law enforcement, provide information that brings smugglers to justice. We're also sending additional federal prosecutors to hotspots along the border and prosecute individuals who break our immigration laws. One other critical step that we will be taking, and that has made a huge difference. We continue to work closely with our Mexican neighbors instead of attacking Mexico. And it's worked. We've built a strong partnership of trust between the Mexican President Lopez Obrador, and I'm going to do the same with the Mexican-elect president who I spoke with yesterday.
So there you have it, and let me know your thoughts. Is President Joe Biden finally coming around to the warnings that are being issued by the FBI Director Wray, and he's actually concerned about the security of the American people and protecting them? Or is it because it is simply an election year? And we're also hearing that this could get struck down also. So they're saying that he might issue this to send the message, but might not do anything effective in actually securing the border. Now, let me know your thoughts. Now, some of the warnings coming out is that we've got other nations that want to do harm to the United States, including Russia and China, which they are saying a lot of those immigrants are crossing into our southern border and want to cause harm, including cyber attacks. And we've actually heard warnings of potential war coming from both of them that they are saying could spark World War III. Now, to get the latest on that, be sure to check out these videos right here next, as I covered it in detail for you, as both of these nations we're hearing could be in the middle of a conflict with the United States that could spark World War III. So check those out next if you haven't, and I'll keep you up to date on everything. But that is the latest, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me, and again, thank you to today's video sponsor. We'll catch you in the next video. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.